If you're chasing a native accent in Spanish, you're focusing on the wrong thing. There are 11 very common Spanish words that are often mispronounced by students and learners. And no, they don't reply back to you in English because your Spanish is bad. It's because your pronunciation gives you away. And one very important thing that I always tell my students, accent and pronunciation are two different things. Your accent is part of who you are, your identity, your culture, your story, and that's something that you always need to embrace. That doesn't mean that pronunciation doesn't matter. Pronunciation is essential for people to understand what you're saying and avoid those misunderstandings. Your accent does not block communication. Poor pronunciation does. Your accent can always be adjusted, but it doesn't have to be perfect. We are not looking for perfection here, but to feel free and relieved when you speak in Spanish. So the goal is not to erase your accent, but to make your Spanish more clear, natural, and easy to understand. I'm Celso Gil, and I help people who move to Spain feel at home by connecting with locals and speaking Spanish with confidence. We're going to see 11 very common words in Spanish and how to practice pronunciation with those specific words. Venga, vamos. You've probably seen this word so often, but how would you pronounce it? Euro. Euro. I know that in English those vowels often slide, but in Spanish the vowels are so important for any word. It's the key, actually. And in Spanish, all the vowels are going to have the same sound and pronunciation no matter where they are. So that's something easier than in English. So instead of dragging the vowel at the end of the word, as you probably do in English, like euro, that euro, it will sound euro, euro. Euro. Perfecto. How about this one? I know this is tricky because it's the same word that you read in English, but the pronunciation in Spanish, it's something different. So this one is hotel. Hotel. Things to consider here. The H in Spanish is going to be silent. We do not pronounce the H. Hotel. Just ignore it. And then again, the vowels are so important. In English, it will be hotel, and in Spanish, it will be hotel. Hotel. By the way, if you want to stop guessing and actually understand why Spanish sounds the way it does and put everything into practice, I have a Spanish pronunciation course that has everything that you need, and I will link that in the description. I love this one. How would you pronounce this one? Try it. Okay, so in English, Wi-Fi, right? I don't know in other languages though. Let me know in the comments if in your language this is pronounced differently. In Spanish, can you guess? Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi. There you go. So the vowels are again the key here. And it's not only about the vowels, but also the rhythm. In English it's Wi-Fi, in Spanish, Wi-Fi. This one? Okay, give it a try first. How would you say it? Because I don't know how many times I've heard people saying camarero, something like camarero. So there are so many things to take into account with this kind of words. First, the vowels should already be something that you always have in mind. So camarero, that dragging out the O at the end, should not exist in Spanish. We say camarero, camarero. So short, more even, and the vowels clear. Then the C, in English, you actually let some air out. So it's ca. In Spanish, we do not have that air coming out. It's completely blocked. So we say ca, camarero. And I know the R is the topic of pronouncing in Spanish. You have all of that information in the course if you want to go more in detail. Here, that R is a soft one, which means that we need to position the tongue in front of your teeth and just place it soft and going forward. So it will be camarero, ra, 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 ra. Give it a try with this one and try your best to pronounce it properly. So in Spanish, the standard way to pronounce the C is with the TH sound, which means that you say gracias, gracias. You can also say gracias. The C can be also pronounced as an S in other regions of Spain and obviously in Latin America as well. So you can choose the one that you want to. And remember to keep all of those syllables even. So gracias, no, gracias, gracias. 2 syllables, 2 times. For the beer lovers, let's try this one now. So we can combine what we just saw with the new sound as well. How would you pronounce this one? So the standard way will be cerveza, cerveza. I know, so many TH sounds, right? Cerveza, tha, 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 tha. Cerveza. Also, don't forget that the V in Spanish, it sounds the same way as B. So V and B are pronounced the same way, cerveza. This one is very tricky, and not a lot of people talk about it. Not only the vowels, but the G in Spanish, it's a little bit different than in English. How would you pronounce this? Agua, agua. So if you compare the G in English, it's often more strong, and in Spanish, it's softer, which means that the tongue, when pronouncing the G in Spanish, will come a little bit more forward and not staying that much at the back as it happens in English. Agua. Please, if you see any tourist, anybody living in Spain, could you please tell them to pronounce this word properly? I think it's time now. How would you say it? How would you pronounce it? Okay, so the double L, the pronunciation is like ye. It can be stronger or softer depending on the region, but it's not an L, it's a double L, so the sound is different. And then the P, it happens the same as with the letter C or T and other sounds. In English, we let some air out when pronouncing the P, for example. In Spanish, that doesn't happen. So, paella, paella. Also avoid dragging out the A at the end of the word. So, paella. And please spread the news and no more people saying paella, por favor. Same thing here. In this case, it's not the P, but the T. How would you pronounce it in Spanish? There you go. Tortilla, tortilla, tortilla. In this case, the R is stronger than camarero. So this R is different, right? You see camarero, the rolling R is soft. Tortilla, the rolling is strong. Tortilla. Now this one, we have the B, the vowels, and then the ñ, which is a special sound in Spanish, right? In English, there is no ñ sound. The more similar is the ny sound, like años. That's how some people would pronounce the ñ. But to be honest, the ñ in Spanish is stronger. So it's kind of like you need to put the face and interiorize as if you were angry and then get the sound out. So año, baño, ño. Face, like ña. As if you don't like something, like ña, baño. And the perfect one to finish it, how would you say that? Cuenta. So again, remember the sound of the C and the T in Spanish, the vowels and how to put the syllables that are short and even with the same rhythm. Cuenta is 2 syllables, 2 times. Cuenta, cuenta. And remember, do not fight your accent, but train your pronunciation. Because sounding natural is not about speaking fast. It's about speaking with awareness and confidence. Yeah, Georgia.